just a back-and-forth battle between the Florida Freedom, but you got to be pretty proud of your guys this past weekend, Justin.
Yeah, the guys, they're getting there, you know. I've said it from day one. This is a really good roster, and when it all comes together, nobody in the league is going to want to play them. They're going to be a dangerous team, and they're really close to being that away. You know, we got to get one more ride consistently every game and see how they look on the big stage.
I appreciate your time, Justin. Rest up for that upcoming weekend. If you want to catch more about the Nashville Stampede, or you want to go to the Stampede Days coming up here in August, go to pbr.com/tickets or ticketmaster.com to get your tickets. Justin, again, thanks for your time, and we'll talk next week.
Sounds great. Thank you, Nick.
Live on the Game Nashville Sports Network.
Hi, I'm Parker Kelly with your Game Center update, brought to you by Ponce Law. Injured in an accident? Call Ponce Law at 615-244-4321. Ponce Law, justice for all. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Titans football tomorrow night as they take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in Raymond James Stadium to open the preseason. Rookie quarterback and first overall pick, Cam Ward, is set to make his debut. Here's what he had to say on how much he'll see the field tomorrow night.
No, I'm listening to Coach Callahan. I'm ready to play the whole time if I need to. But this is also a big evaluation, not only for myself, but for the whole team. I'm ready to make plays when my number's called. I'm real excited to just be on the grass again, to just really put everything that I worked for out there, and just try to lead my teammates and try to get a win out there.
In other news around the AFC South, Indianapolis Colts quarterback Anthony Richardson was forced to exit their preseason opener against the Baltimore Ravens early after he was sacked in the first quarter, in which he dislocated his pinky on his throwing hand. Tune in tonight on 94.9 The Fan as the Nashville Sounds take on the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp. First pitch is scheduled for 6:35 with the pregame at 6:20. For the Game Nashville Sports Network, I'm Parker Kelly.
For more, log on to theGameNashville.com. Your sports live here on the Game Nashville Sports Network.
Your sports live here. WBUZ HD3 Laverne. We are the Game Nashville Sports Network. ESPN 94.9 The Fan.
30 years of the best sports talk in Middle Tennessee. It's the George Plaster Show, featuring Tennessee Sports Hall of Famers Kelly Holcomb and young gun Billy Derrick. And now, here's your host, George Plaster.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome in. It is beautiful, warm Friday in Nashville, Tennessee. We are back at Levy's Clothiers, just down the road from the Green Hills Mall, like a half block. And so they've got a big tent sale going on now through tomorrow afternoon. David Levy joining us here at our broadcast site. The last 10 minutes have been hilarious because your dad and my dad, and for that matter, your cousin, stirred up a lot of crap over the years.
It's fun telling these stories. And your dad was our travel agent. And back then you couldn't book an airplane ticket online or anything like that. And he always got us there on time.
You kind of had to go through it.
You really did. You really did.
Some relatives, I was with a bunch of his side of the family last week, and they were all making the joke that he never introduced himself. Hi, I'm Tom Plaster. It was Tom Plaster, American Airlines.
Right.
He thought he owned that airline. And I think he found out later in life that he didn't.
But they were the best in this town, so he only worked for the best. They own Berryfield, Nashville.
Yeah.
And I'd send my dad off, kind of a sad time. He'd spend a week to 10 days up in New York buying for Levy's, where we're having our tent sale the next 2 days.
So you told us something yesterday that anybody that was listening had to be like, whoa. 5 generations.
Yes.
170 years almost on the button. That's insane.
Yes. In 1855, my great-great-grandfather moved to Nashville with some cousins, didn't take their name, so there must have been some intrigue there. And he was a merchant tailor. he set up shop down on 2nd Avenue, and he lived above the store, like I guess in the old country in Germany, with a bunch of family. And he must have sewed because you couldn't go to New York and purchase ready-to-wear clothes at that time. And made it through the Civil War. And here we are, 5th generation. Some people tease me, you don't look 170 years. And that's kind of the compliment of the day.
But you acted yesterday like you felt it.
Hey, you never know. You never know. But this tent sale is a chance for me to kind of close my eyes because retailers don't like markdowns, but it's time to clear some things out and be ready for fall. It's going to get cool one of these days. So here we are with some great values, prices we don't normally offer. So you better stop by. And you can even shop outside or come inside to the cooler climate.
We're inside. We're smart. Later, around 3:25, we're going to meet, help me with this, your second cousin.
My second cousin
is a former pro football quarterback, Sage Rosenfels, who, the minute I said it yesterday, Kelly was like, oh, I played with Sage. So did you know him before he was Iowa State and pro quarterback and all that kind of stuff?
I had 3 cousins, and Sage's dad was one of those. We had a very small family. My mother didn't have any siblings. And Sage, we really found out about him when he beat Pittsburgh. What year was it? 2000? In the first bowl victory for Iowa State football as a quarterback. He was a quarterback.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Since in their 108-year football history. So it was a big deal. He was 23 for 34, 308 yards, 2 touchdowns. And Iowa just going about nuts because sports is about all that's going on in the wintertime in Iowa. If you've ever been out there, it's pretty quiet other than that and hunting.
I've been to Ames, Iowa, which is where Iowa State's located.
Right.
Really underrated, beautiful football facility. I don't know what they call it now. It was the Hilton Center when C.M. Newton was at Vandy. In the first year that I was involved in their games, we played up there, and it was beautiful.
One of the nice things was when Sage ended up, he was a little bit of a journeyman quarterback. He was drafted, would you believe, by Steve Spurrier when he was at the Commanders or the Redskins back then.
Believe me, I'm going to ask him about that.
Yeah. And he ended up at Houston, at the Texans, and they tended to have a lot of hurt quarterbacks. So as a backup, he wasn't carrying the clipboard, as his dad used to say. He had to play a lot, and he almost beat us twice. He did a lot of good things at Houston, but because of that, we're in the same division. We played in Nashville every year. So I got to meet him. I got to be the typical family person and go in the back by the ramp and shake his hand.
Yeah.
And even it went up to Indianapolis game when he started, and got to be underground there. And that was pretty cool. So the family and I have gotten much closer through Sage, really.
Yeah.
And it's been a wonderful thing. He's just a really good guy. As I say when we were talking earlier, he's better looking and taller, which is hard to be.
He's
and
about 6'4", isn't he?
I think he's taller than me, and much better. I think he might be 6'6", and a much better athlete than me. If anybody remembers me from the Hillwood High School days, George.
We do not have film footage.
No, thank goodness.
Hold on to all of this, because when we go to the break and bring Sage up, I'm going to have you do the intro.
Cool.
We'll just see kind of where it goes.
Okay.
So every day, in theory, on the show, we start, once football season starts, with Terry McCormick's Daily Titans Update.
Mm-hmm.
Terry is at his palatial abode in Westmoreland, Tennessee. Terry, how are you?
Good. Yeah, I remember you're at Levy's, right?
Yes.
My dad and his brother.
David Levy.
Hello, Terry.
Yes, nice to meet you. Back in the early 70s.
Yes, sir.
They were in the music business. They did bluegrass, and they bought these dark green suits at Levy's, which I guess were in style then, because, you don't really think of green as a big suit color, but
unless you're the Masters.
Yes.
That doesn't embarrass me because that's history, Terry.
Yes. But anyway, they wore those suits for a photo shoot that they did to promote an album. So there you go.
So, Terry, one of the things that David and I are well aware of, David's cousin and my father used to go before our weekly Kiwanis Club meeting. They had what I'm going to call a pregame show at the Capitol Grill at the Hermitage Hotel. And I went to my mom and said, "You got to put a stop to this." I said that they get obnoxious. They come back, feeling no pain. And my mom made it clear to me. She said, "You need to understand something about your dad. I didn't marry him." She said, "I married your dad for better or for worse. I did not marry him for lunch. And as long as he's not bothering me, I don't give a damn what he does." And so David and I have
And they were married for how many years? I guess that worked.
61 years.
So I guess it worked.
Of mom putting up with this. So David and I have spent the last 15 minutes yapping about family histories of the Plasters and the Levys, not all of which we should be proud of, but it's very humorous. Now, tell David what he needs to know going into tomorrow night.
All right. Well, the Titans are going to play their starters for about 2 series or so, maybe a little longer, depending on how well it goes. If it doesn't go well, they may want to get a 3rd series in for Cam Ward in the offense. So that also means first team line is going to be out there for as long as Cam Ward is. And I think they want to kind of see what it looks like when everything is live and there's no script and, they're not able to predict what's going to happen. I think they want to see how he reacts for his first time as a professional quarterback.
So a couple of series and then on to Brandon Allen?
On to Brandon Allen and then on to Tim Boyle to finish up the game. So it'll be interesting to see, a lot of people wondering what the Titans are going to do at the backup quarterback situation. But honestly, and I don't know, sometimes in camp things can get us, skewed or whatever. But honestly, Brandon Allen and Tim Boyle have been better than I expected that they would be at this camp. They've each made some nice plays. Brandon Allen really knows this offense. Tim Boyle is a guy that's been around, been in a number of different systems. So it's kind of interesting. You'll get to see both of them tomorrow night and what they can do.
Terry, let me ask you this, and I don't mean this to be smart aleck, but given that you've got all these eggs in Cam Ward's basket, and I realize this is two-faced because if he were to get hurt tomorrow night, people would be calling saying, "George, you were the one saying play him. And that's the risk that you take in the preseason. But don't you need more than 2 series tomorrow night on him? I mean, shouldn't he be more like the entire first half?
Well, you would think that. I think that's coming probably a little later on in the preseason, maybe the home game against Minnesota. I think what you will get, the way Brian Callahan did it last year, the starting offense played a couple of series in the first preseason game against the 49ers. I think I heard somebody say that Levis took 14 snaps last year in the first preseason game. Then they held the starting offense out in the second preseason game because they had the 2 joint practices. That's going to be similar this year for Cam Ward. You have 2 joint practices in Atlanta next Tuesday and Wednesday. So he probably won't see a lot of action on Friday, I wouldn't think. And then in the third preseason game, I think you'll see him get a lot of action. I do agree with you. When you're breaking in a rookie quarterback, I think he needs as many reps as possible. But you've also got to balance it with this, that you've got 90 guys total you got to take a look at. And when you're cutting that down to 53, you can't give him all the reps because, you got to put the second team offense and defense out there and the third team offense and defense out there to see which guys can do something, to help you and be a part of this 53-man roster.
Okay, we'll leave it there. Terry, appreciate it as always. Talk to you again Monday, same time, same place.
All right, sounds good.
That's Terry McCormick's Daily Titans Update, which leads me to our big promotion that debuts tomorrow night, just down the road from Levy's in the Green Hills Mall. Football night in Nashville, which will, when we get to the regular season, it'll be a every Thursday night deal at Beautiful Sports and Social. Tomorrow night, we decided to kind of change it up because we thought a lot of people would, just out of curiosity, like to see how Cam Ward does. This is a beautiful setup, maybe the best TV setup I've ever seen to watch games. They got great food. We're going to have a lot of fun. Pop-a-shot competitions, trivia questions. You can register to win the beautiful golf cart that we will give away at the end of the football season, courtesy of the folks at Mikey's Motors. So if you get a chance, come on in tomorrow night. We'd love to see you and kind of kick off the football season in style. Billy, do you have an update?
I do have an update.
Okay, try to have David think afterwards. Man, that Billy, he's a sharp cat.
Here we go. Let's see what I got. It is brought to you by Tennessee and Illinois, coming up December the 6th at Bridgestone Arena. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. Well, we're going to start with some Tennessee news. We've mentioned Boo Carter. We've talked about his status. There's another Tennessee player that has been hurt throughout the preseason. Jermon McCoy, All-American cornerback. He's expected to be a first-round NFL draft pick. Tore his ACL during a training session in January. Underwent surgery. He's been rehabbing this offseason, but he was back on the practice field today. Took part in individual drills alongside teammates during periods open to the media. He wasn't a full participant, but he was out there on the field, and that's a big guy to get back if you're Tennessee.
That's like signing a free agent is what it is. And the question is, okay, we're 3 weeks from their season opener against Syracuse, supposedly neutral site Mercedes-Benz. We know better. That'll be a heavily packed Tennessee crowd. How much in 3 weeks can he move from light work to, I don't know, 20, 25 plays in the game? Wouldn't that seem realistic?
Yeah, definitely not a full participant in the game, you wouldn't think. But it is going to be interesting to see how much does he play this year for Tennessee, because this is a team that has to have him. They need to have Boo Carter on defense as well. So we will see what we get from Jermon McCoy. We'll see what we get from Garrett Nussmeier. There was a rumor going around that he had torn his ACL, but earlier today, Brian Kelly denied that. He said he is actually dealing with patellar tendonitis. He's been dealing with that in his knee. He will not miss any significant time. He didn't tear anything, but Kelly did say that Nussmeier suffered a severe knee injury. It wasn't a new injury either. He just re-aggravated an old knee injury from last season. He said he probably just planted wrong in Wednesday's practice, but still something to watch.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah. I mean, let's face it.
Because he can say he'll be ready to go, but you never know if you re-aggravate that thing again.
So they're 3 weeks from tomorrow at Clemson.
Yep.
In the second of the games of the day. Week 1 has never had this many good games.
No.
Starting with Texas, Ohio State. They cannot win. They can't do any of the things they hope to do without him.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned Ohio State. Their quarterback battle continues between Julian Sayin and Lincoln Keenholz. Apparently that battle right now is too close to call. Ryan Day said the competition continues. They both have had good moments and moments where they're growing. I will say I've been pleased with the progress. It's going to go right down to the wire. And we know about both those guys. They haven't played a ton. It's a lot like Arch Manning, a lot like Ty Simpson. That's an interesting battle to watch. I mean, a lot of people sit there and say it's going to be Julian Sayin, but Ryan Day said we don't know. And that could be gamesmanship. But
it seems a little shocking that Ohio State has to be in this position where they really don't know.
Well, they have before, but it was J.T. Barrett and was it Cardale Jones?
Yeah, it was.
I mean, those are two guys that had played before, talented. These two guys are a lot more unproven. So we'll see what happens with their quarterback battle. Last night, and I got a picture of this if you're watching on the podcast, Anthony Richardson got
God, I saw it.
He got lit up and his pinky was bent at an awful looking angle. The medical staff was able to run out there and pop it back into place. He resumed throwing light passes on the sideline, but Shane Steichen ruled him out of the game. Daniel Jones finished the first half, and then they gave it off to Riley Leonard. But he could return to practice as soon as tomorrow. So it looks like he's made somewhat of a recovery there.
He cannot keep taking these kind of hits. He never saw this guy blitzing.
No, he was totally he was unblocked.
He got lit like a Christmas tree.
He did. That was not pretty.
No.
And that gives way for Daniel Jones to play a little bit more and practice more. And so you hate it for him, but hopefully Richardson's able to get back healthy. Some more injury news. Chargers star offensive tackle Rashawn Slater was carted off during practice. He's feared to have suffered a torn patellar tendon.
Yeah, that's a bad loss for them.
He's facing a season-ending injury. He'll be out for the year. With him out, Notre Dame star Joe Alt will move to left tackle, who is well equipped. He was playing inside. They're going to move him outside.
And a guy that for a long time was rumored a year ago to end up being a Titan, and it didn't turn out that way because the Chargers picked right in front of him.
Mm-hmm. And then a couple of other NFL notes. We know about Shedeur Sanders. He will start the Browns preseason opener. Taylor Heineke will start Sunday's preseason game for the Chargers. He's in a battle with Trey Lance for the backup behind Justin Herbert. Lance started the Hall of Fame game. Heineke gets his shot. So, interesting battle
Trey Lance was better than I've seen him before.
Yeah.
That was about as good as he's been.
Final note for the break. Former Atlanta Brave and Dodgers pitcher for a few other teams as well, Alex Wood has announced his retirement.
Alex Wood is the absolute spitting image of a former Plaster intern and a former Vandy catcher, Drew Fan. They look exactly alike. It's ridiculous how close. Good for him. Okay, after the break, you're going to meet David Levy's second cousin, former NFL quarterback Sage Rosenfels, will join us from Omaha, Nebraska. This is 94.9, The Fan.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
Attention, Big Orange Country. Tennessee and Illinois will square off Saturday, December the 6th at Bridgestone Arena. This is the rematch of a great college basketball game last season in Champaign that went right to the wire. And this one figures to be more of the same. Tickets are on sale now. You can grab your seats by going to Ticketmaster.com. That's Ticketmaster.com. Tennessee, Illinois. It's big time. It's easy to say good things about the folks at Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers. Number one, I trust them with something that's near and dear to me, the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. But more importantly, I see the fun people have. They enjoy the bowling, they enjoy the camaraderie, and you will too. Come by any of their locations and get ready to have some fun.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonleyTimmons.com.
At Wilson Bank and Trust, we believe you shouldn't have to choose between personal service and digital solutions. As your local independent bank, we're proud to offer the relationships and trusted service you expect, along with the tools and technology that keep you moving forward. So whether you're growing a business, buying a home, or planning for the future, we're here to help. Because this isn't just where we work, it's where we live too. Wilson Bank and Trust, here to get you there. Member FDIC.
A holler.
It's the George Plaster Show.
Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
Be some fun. Those of you who are watching this by way of podcast, you've got a little bit of an advantage. David Levy and I have known each other for who knows how long, probably 40 some odd years, and family members of ours who are no longer with us knew each other 40 years before that. Yes. So in the whole coming and doing a remote at Levy's, there's a lot of fun, a lot of synergy to all this. What I didn't know going in was that David was going to get his second cousin on the show, who happens to have been a longtime NFL quarterback,
right?
Sage Rosenfels. He's on the line. Let's hear you do the intro.
Okay. I am really proud to introduce, during Levy's big tent sale here in Green Hills, quarterback Sage Rosenfels, my second cousin. He definitely got the sports genes in our small family that didn't pass to me, and anybody from Hillwood High School will vouch for that. And he has the Iowa roots to my Nashville roots, the unicorn roots here. Sage's father was one of my three first cousins, had a very small family, and was a wonderful man who overcome his own challenges. One of Sage's sisters, another favorite, fights a daily battle from her near tragic traffic accident in the Iowa ice. One of Sage's sisters, I just said that. So growing up in Iowa and being drafted by Steve Spurrier at the Washington Redskins, now Commanders, is a story of a lot of hard work. During the 2000 season at Iowa State, quarterback Sage was 23 for 34, 308 yards, 2 touchdowns, in the first victory in a bowl game in Iowa State's 108-year football history.
Wow.
They beat Pittsburgh. It is my pleasure to brag about my cousin, Sage Rosenfels. Hey, Sage.
Hey, David. Thanks for having me on, George. Appreciate the time. And
I need to talk about your NFL time, too. He was quarterback. He was drafted by Spurrier. He also played for the Dolphins, Texans, Vikings, and Giants. At the Vikings, he was just behind a guy named Brett Favre. Anybody remember him?
I do remember him.
And at the Texans, we got to see him here once a season, which was a pleasure. Got to hang out with family and did that hello and behind the stadium at the ramp.
Nice.
So here we go, Sage. I almost forgot about all your pro years.
Yeah. I appreciate the quick run. I do want to correct you. Spurrier did not draft me. It was actually Marty Schottenheimer the year before. But yeah, so my coaching tree is pretty unique. You know, you go from Marty Schottenheimer, and Brian Schottenheimer was a 26-year-old first-time NFL quarterbacks coach. He had been quality control before that. So now, of course, the head coach of the Cowboys. And then Spurrier comes in the next year, and I end up getting traded at the end of the preseason to Miami. Spent 4 years there, 3 with Dave Wanstead and that crew. Norv Turner's the offensive coordinator. Mark Trestman was a quarterback coach. Brian Greasy was a teammate. Jay Fiedler, of course. And then, got 1 year Nick Saban in Miami in my 4th year. And then free agency hit. I decided I wanted to live past 60 years old. And so I got out of the Nick Saban 2-a-day regiment and went over to the Gary Kubiak West Coast.
Oh, that was pretty good.
Practice in shorts and fewer pads. And so went to Houston free agency, which which got me into this great division, this great AFC South. Not something I really followed all that much growing up as a Midwestern kid from Iowa, as David said, but really sort of fell in love with that division. Great football there, great fans there, great passion for the sport and all four of those teams. And after playing a lot in Houston, and Kyle Shanahan was my quarterbacks coach. Matt LaFleur was an assistant. Mike McDaniel was an assistant. D'Amico Ryans was a teammate of mine. We drafted him in Houston in 2006, and then went to Minnesota hoping to start up there. But then Brett Favre showed up, backed him up for a year, went to that NFC Championship game against the Saints, lost to Breeze in that that classic overtime game in New Orleans, and then sort of finished my career backing up Eli Manning in New York, and then sort of finishing up back in Minnesota. So it was quite the tour. Journeyman backup quarterback is probably the best way to describe my career, and had some great years though in that AFC South and playing for Gary Kubiak, and right at the beginning of that sort of run of what is now offensively, so many teams have sort of run a version of that offense that we ran during those 3 years with Gary Kubiak and Kyle Shanahan.
Sage, first of all, greetings from another journeyman quarterback, a teammate on this show Monday through Thursday every week, Kelly Holcomb.
Oh yeah, great guy. Same era. Yeah. I think Kelly I went gray about 30 years old in the NFL. I think Kelly's one of the few quarterbacks that went gray before I did. So I hope he's doing well.
We'll pass it on. Hey, let me ask this, because this was something I was not prepared to go down this road. As a young, in my 20s, Vandy sideline announcer, we went to Iowa State and got beat very late. Beautiful facility. To me, I've always thought Iowa State was kind of a sleeping giant with, I've done a basketball game there. And it looks like Matt Campbell has been the secret sauce.
And Matt has done an incredible job since he took over. This is year 10 for Iowa State, and he understands the way people tick. He understands, obviously, the game well, but the way he builds that program every single day, the speeches that he gives, the system that he has created, it is just a winning culture through and through. And I think that goes back to his Mount Union days, playing football in Ohio. And they would just win national championship after national championship. And of course, they had good players, but there just became this culture of winning and expectations, and the way you work, and the way you, as he says, work in the dark, and just keep working. And over time, you end up, doing a lot of good things and win a lot of football games. And so he has been incredible for us, for me as an alumni, a former quarterback, as David said earlier, the first quarterback to win a bowl in school history. Unbelievably, to see where they are now, winning 11 games last year. They've gone to the conference championship game a couple times. They won the Fiesta Bowl a few years ago. Obviously, Brock Purdy, coming from that program, now an NFL starter, and David Montgomery and Breece Hall, two running back starters in the league, and just a bunch of players that have made it to the NFL coming out of there. He has really taken that program to a whole nother level, and as I said, I couldn't be more thankful for the job that he has done. And I just, hope he stays forever. It's tough sledding when you're at Iowa State. We have, great people, hardworking personality and culture, but there's not all the talent in the world, of course, within a 4-hour drive of Ames, Iowa. And so, you have to find ways to sort of, find the right people that are going to fit in that sort of underdog role. And, on top of it, we don't have the money, that the Ohio States and the Tennessees and Alabamas and Floridas, that these big programs, Texas A&M, we don't have that type of money. So we're playing with sort of the Oakland A's, Minnesota Twins, style of sort of salary cap management. And as I said, through first couple of years of NIL, we won 11 games last year. So obviously he's done a pretty good job wading those waters.
As y'all can tell, there's some broadcast ability in Sage Rosenfels. So you're as good a person to ask this as anybody. You know what's going on down here. The Titans are trying to make Cam Ward the man as the number 1 draft pick. And there's two schools of thought, one of which appears to have gone out the window. When Steve McNair came, he sat for a couple of years behind Chris Chandler. Now, virtually nobody sits. Sage, what is the right way to do it?
I think that's a good question. I think nobody really knows. I think there is not one exact way. Peyton Manning, one of the all-time greats, he played his rookie year. I think they won 3 football games. He threw a gazillion interceptions. And then over time, he became Peyton Manning, fairly quickly, had a huge change in year 2. Tom Brady did not play at all his rookie year, not because he wasn't maybe good enough, but because he was sitting behind Drew Bledsoe. No one thought Tom Brady was going to be a starter. And so, Drew Brees sat right away. Some people, he sat behind Doug Flutie, out in San Diego. So I think there's no exact way to do it. I think a player's career is about over time. It's about a marathon. As a fan, you probably should have medium to low expectations in that first or second year. But I'd like to think more by, you won't know everything your first year, but you'll have an idea. But really, you have to sort of give them that, that full season and see how it goes. We know the kid in Washington, Daniels, we know he's a stud after a freshman. That was the best thing for him to do, was to play. Best thing for that whole franchise was for him to play, right away. So Cam Ward could be that, or he could be a guy that struggles, right off the bat. So, at the end of the day, it's tough, because when you're a quarterback and you get drafted first, it almost always means you're on the worst team in the NFL, or one of the worst. And if you look at, as you guys know all too well, the Titans were the second worst last year in point differential. And, it's interesting. The Texans, who won the division, they were even. They were 10-7, but they were even as far as points scored and points given up, which means, they won a lot of close ball games. The Titans lost a lot of ball games by a couple touchdowns or more. And so, he's being sort of thrust into a tough situation. And so when you're looking at that, you have to look at this as a long-term hold here. And you hope that, in year 3, year 4, not only is he better, but the roster around him is much better as well.
Sage, when you went through the tree of all these great coaches that you were around, whether it was for a small amount of time or a fairly lengthy amount of time, I come away going, I could talk to this guy for 2 hours. I could ask questions until, the sun ends up shining. But here's one that people in this area would be interested in, because SEC football is king in this area, as you know. In the brief amount of time you were with Spurrier, did you know in your heart this transition isn't going to work?
Well, that's a good question, because at the time, I only had 1 year of NFL experience, and that was in this very traditional West Coast offense that was sort of like the Joe Montana when he went to Kansas City offense. And, of course, no one, people don't really, they run some of those plays now, but a lot of that has really transformed over time. But I will tell you this. I was the lone remaining quarterback on that roster after my rookie year. And, fairly quickly we signed Danny Werfel. We drafted Patrick Ramsey in the first round, and we had Shane Matthews we ended up signing as well. So that was the quarterback room. Not great, right? But I'll tell you, he allowed me to compete on that team and for a chance to be the starter or to make the team. And I played some of the best football in my career during that training camp and during that preseason. It was a different style where the quarterback had the ability to audible more, to sort of take shots more. And so I actually think that with maybe the right coaches around him, more of the NFL thinkers around him that sort of understood the dynamics of pro football versus college football, I actually think there was elements of that offense that were fantastic and I loved. And so I have really nothing but really good memories of that. I think one of the issues was honestly, it wasn't a great roster. We didn't have great receivers, and obviously we didn't have very good quarterbacks. I mean, no offense to Shane, no offense to Danny, no offense to Patrick Ramsey, no offense to myself. None of us became really legitimate NFL starters, at least, top half of the league NFL starters. And so, the hardest thing to do in the NFL is to win games when you don't have legitimate starting quarterback talent to that, and so I think there may have been an opportunity for him to have success, but it would have to have been the right place and the right people around him. And that's really hard to do because that's not the way, Steve was wired per se. Is, he wasn't an NFL person. He didn't know that whole league and the way people are and the way the details maybe sometimes of like O-line coaching, and it's some strategy that you can get away with a little bit more in college football, if you have just better players, and which he had a lot of great players at Florida. And so I don't know. I like to think that he would have been all right. I thoroughly enjoyed played for him. And I tell you, I thought he was a player's coach, and in a lot of ways. And I think a lot of other guys would have said the same thing. I wish he would have had more success because I love that he allowed the quarterbacks to audible, and a lot of teams are very weary of that. But I always thought, man, if you know what coverage it is and you want to take a shot, like, strike while the iron's hot. And he gave us those tools and those abilities. And I love that sort of freedom from a quarterback's perspective of how as a coordinator, he wanted to be aggressive. And as I said, I played well in that offense.
What a treat. Sage Rosenfels is terrific, as all of you can tell, even if he is David's second cousin.
Give me a break on that.
Man,
I'm proud of him.
You should be. First of all, he's a talk show waiting to happen.
Yes.
And I know he's done some broadcast work. Billy, try one or two, and then we'll let him out of here.
Sage, appreciate you taking the time. I'm interested with your experience at Iowa State. Obviously, now in the Big 12, which is such an interesting conference. We talk about the SEC all the time and the Big 10 as those are the two powers. But I brought up the fact that I think it could end up as the Power 3 if the Big 12 continues to elevate and play well and get a team or two in the playoff. How do you look at the state of the Big 12? Obviously, we talked about Iowa State, but how can that conference continue to find a role in college football?
Well, it comes down to money. And as far as I know, there's a lot of people that live in, the Midwest and Texas and Arizona, in Colorado and, Cincinnati and obviously over to northern Florida. And so, the viewership map and the number of people in the areas of Big 12 teams, in particular, because we have so many teams, there's big money in those types of TV contracts. And, that's a lot of times what we're talking about here. So I actually think that, the conference has a ton of value, and it is different than obviously the SEC. It's different than the Big 10, but I do think it's sort of that third conference. And we've lost some of the top tier teams, but I think we have great depth, and, it allows people, coaches say from Iowa State or even Texas to go to other places really all over the map. And, there are kids in say northern Florida that for whatever reason, they don't want to play in those conferences, or, there's just a lot, we sort of cover the country in a lot of ways. And so I actually think that we're in a great spot. I think we've got a great commissioner who's sort of an out of the box thinker. And so I think we've done a good job of adding teams, and I think the conference is very healthy. And I'll tell you what, I'm thrilled that Colorado, which is a national brand name, obviously, again, with Dion there. I was just looking on the Iowa State schedule the other day. We're heading out to Boulder, I think sometime in maybe in October or early November. It's a great time to be in that conference because they're great road trips, great road games. It's very competitive. You really don't know. It doesn't have those sort of powerhouses yet. The conference hasn't sort of figured itself out yet. And obviously not just in football, but in basketball. I think it's the best conference in basketball. I think the SEC is coming on because of NIL money, but I think it's a great basketball conference with Kansas and Arizona and Houston and just some great powers. And obviously Iowa State, we've always had a very good basketball program over there with Hilton Magic in Ames, Iowa.
All right, one more from me. Do you think Aaron Rodgers gets through this entire season?
Probably not. I would think not. The best predictor of the future is to look at the past, and in this situation, probably the immediate past. And he hasn't finished, seasons as more often than not. And so I would assume no. I'm intrigued to see the way he plays. I hope he has a great end in his career. I think we all love it when a quarterback sort of goes out, like a John Elway style, and goes out and either wins a Super Bowl or just makes a great run. And you see some of that old magic, that he still has, but it hasn't been nearly as fun watching Aaron Rodgers football over the last 4 or 5 years as it was, during the first 12 years of his career.
So, David, I'm going to let you end it here in a second, but Sage, promise me that one day, about midway through the football season, that I can get you and Kelly on the air together.
Oh yeah,
because that would be a hoot.
I used to do a radio show up with a guy with the Vikings, and we would talk about journeyman backup quarterbacks every Wednesday. It was journeyman backup quarterback day, and we would go into the various sort of journeymans around the league. If the Vikings were playing, say, Detroit, we would be like Charlie Batch, or we'd find old backups that had played for the Detroit Lions, or obviously there. And so Kelly is one of those guys. He fits right into that category. And those, to me, the journeyman backups are always my favorite to talk to in general. They're the best people out there. So looking forward to that conversation.
Well, like you, he's terrific on the air. His breakdown of things is really good. And this just in, he is not afraid to give his opinion. And he doesn't care whether it's my opinion or anybody else's, which is part of what we love about him.
Yeah, we as backups, we learned from the best, and he played his fair share. Don't get me wrong, but we learned a lot about football. It's pretty easy for us to see. It's pretty easy for us to see when certain players make mistakes or a coach made a bad call. And I'm glad that he's out there doing his thing, adding that expertise to the audiences. It's like a skill that we have that we don't always get to tell other people about. And he has that outlet through you all. So congrats to you and congrats to Kelly.
Yeah. And listen, when you're going through the Lions, don't forget Eric Kramer. Don't forget Scott Mitchell.
Oh, there's so many of them. There's probably, you probably throw into the chat GPT and put in some criteria. One of our favorite things is the second stint. If you've actually gone to a place, come back, it means that you were a likable guy, so they brought you back a second time. So that's always a thing. I wonder if Kelly has any of those.
Mason Rudolph.
Oh yeah, there you go. There you go.
David, he's pretty doggone good.
I promised.
What a treat.
I promised you, George. Well, Sage, it's so good to hear from you. You've made our family proud. I'm an emotional guy, and I really enjoy your family, your dad, your mom, your sisters, brothers. They're just great people. And my first cousin up in New York, I get together with her when I'm up there shopping for clothes. And I wish you were down here so I could show you around the tent sale at Levy's in Green Hills, 3900 Hillsborough Pike. We're down from Chipotle and Donut Den. I'd even buy you a donut, but you're too good looking for donuts, I guess, today.
David, I need to get to Nashville. There's nothing like family, and always appreciate you and my dad and your conversations after those games in the parking lot, as you said. And looking forward to seeing you soon.
Yes, and it's great. And to know your interest in sports, would you name your first son?
Peyton.
Yep.
With an E.
Yep.
There you go.
Well done.
My daughter wants to. We were just at a dance camp 2 weekends ago. My daughter wants to she wants to be a volunteer.
Okay.
So we'll see how that goes.
That's close by. I'll meet you in Knoxville.
I would think all you'd have to do is tell them you have a son named Peyton. It's automatic.
You can get in. If anyone out there can help my daughter get into the University of Tennessee, there's a discount waiting for you at Levy Men's Clothing.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
You call me. We can make it work. Sage, you were really good to do this. Thank you.
Thank you, Sage. Good talking to you, Cody.
Okay. All right. Bye-bye.
Wow. Terrific interview.
Good stuff.
Man. And you could tell it about 30 seconds in. I know he's got some radio background, so I'm not totally shocked, but he's really good.
Well, I was at National Honor Society in high school, George, and I've heard you talk about Vanderbilt University.
Barely got in, barely got out.
You were not Phi Beta Kappa, were you?
No, I was not. Thank you.
So this guy's smart. My cousin is smart.
Too smart for this show. We'll go to the break on that and then have a few thoughts on some of what we heard. This is 94.9, The Fan.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
If you are paying too much for your health insurance, you know what? You need to contact the folks at Pancoast Benefits. Pancoast works with businesses and individuals to tackle the high cost of health insurance. Whether you're a business owner, large or small, self-employed, between jobs, or over the age of 65 and in need of a Medicare plan, Pancoast can help. They make understanding your benefits less difficult and more personal. So check them out today, pancoastbenefits.com, or call them at 615-292-3400. Attention, Big Orange Country. Tennessee and Illinois will square off Saturday, December the 6th at Bridgestone Arena. This is the rematch of a great college basketball game last season in Champaign that went right to the wire. And this one figures to be more of the same. Tickets are on sale now. You can grab your seats by going to Ticketmaster.com. That's Ticketmaster.com. Tennessee, Illinois. It's big time.
Nashville Sounds Baseball is back in Hit City for the 2025 season. Create a summer of memories at the ballpark with weekly giveaways, fireworks shows, and more. Tickets are on sale now.
I trained my entire life to be the best. I was one of the fastest women in the entire country. But woke politics made me swim against a man, sharing the pool and the locker room. That's not just dangerous, it's degrading. Thank God for Marsha Blackburn. No one fights harder to protect us. Marsha Blackburn will always stand for strong women because she's one of us.
I'm Marsha Blackburn, and I approve this message.
We're back. David, you'll like the story. It has to do a little bit with journeyman quarterbacks.
Yes.
So I had a very good friend with the Titans who was, I believe, a free agent, undrafted, and fought his way onto the team because he just kept playing well.
Billy Bullock.
Yeah, some of you will remember Billy. And so here's how stupid I am. So Billy has, I guess, played through, his years with the Titans where, by the way, there are some huge yardage things he threw up. There was a Monday Night Football game against the Chiefs where he threw for something like 490 yards. Billy put up some numbers in a backup role. But so he's now a free agent and he's looking around and he calls me and he goes, I think I'm going to end up in San Diego. And I said, that would be perfect. I said, because Phillip Rivers was the starter in San Diego. And I told him, I said, Phillip Rivers cannot move a lick. he's going to get hurt a ton. He and I laugh about it. Phillip Rivers never got hurt. He had no mobility, but he had just enough bob and weave and kind of shift to the left and shift to the right. And Billy sat around basically for most of his career, kind of like Sage, holding a clipboard. And it's not bad work if you can get it.
Right. Save those knees, no concussions, don't break anything. Not a bad deal. And you get to observe and actually be a co-coach in a way.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think, first of all, most of them make really good talk show hosts because they see things. They're not playing as much, and so they're doing a lot of observing. Kelly talks about that, to a pretty good amount.
Well, they're really good conversationally because they've had conversations with coaches. They've gotten cut. They've gotten fired. They've been out of football for a year.
Yeah.
Kelly played internationally, so that they know their way around, and they can talk their way at anything. A lot like Kelly.
They've seen it all.
Yeah.
And when he went through that thing about Journeyman Wednesday,
that's a good idea.
Oh, it just started my wheels going about people. In different franchises. For instance, when right before the Titans came here, as you remember, they blew, as the Houston Oilers, this huge lead in the playoff game against Buffalo. They were down. They were up 35-3, and got beat. I think it was 41-38 in overtime. And Bucky Richardson, who had been on that team, had been a really good quarterback at A&M. And somewhere I ended up meeting Bucky Richardson, and I said, hey, I got to ask this. What was the flight home like after you all blow the biggest lead in NFL playoff history? And his answer was very quiet. You could hear a pin drop on that plane. That's the tough part. We all get to turn the TV off, no matter whether the game goes well or it doesn't go well. Well, they have to get on a plane and endure, first of all, is a coach going to go off on that plane? Are players going to go off, or are they just going to sit there silently? It's a weird dynamic that only having broadcast teams, would I have any clue what that's all like?
One thing that Sage's dad used to say to me, we're talking about Sage Rosenfels, if you were just tuning in, his dad would tell me that Sage would always observe the work ethic of the quarterbacks that were starting, and the ones that spent time with mom and dad or girlfriend and weren't really dedicated were the ones that he was in there on Monday's day off trying to rehab and be ready. Because he could tell the difference. Now, I don't know whether he'd get on air and tell you about those, right. but he knows, he knew he could judge character after all those journeyman jobs he had.
Okay, so a great start, a great first hour of the show. When we come back, it'll be stat of the day. And if it doesn't go well, I'm going to dump it in my buddy Neil Price's lap. Neil is the very talented and funny play-by-play voice of the Mississippi State Bulldogs. It is always a treat. He will join us from Starkville after the break on 94.9 The Fan.
It's back to school season, and Cromwell Media has teamed up with Souls for Souls to help a child in Middle Tennessee step into the new year with confidence by introducing Souls for 615. For just $20, you can provide a brand new pair of athletic shoes to a student in need. It's quick, it's easy, and it makes a big difference. Visit thegamenashville.com/shoes to donate now and be a part of something meaningful. Souls for 615 is presented by Macero and 12 South. Go check them out for handcrafted cocktails, bold plates, great happy hour, and elevated hospitality. Your sports live here on the Game Nashville Sports Network.
Extraordinary homes deserve remarkable appliances. At Electronic Express, we bring the best luxury appliance brands together, all in one place. Whether you need a sleek refrigerator, a state-of-the-art range, or a premium dishwasher, Our expert team is here to help you make your home extraordinary. With fast delivery and professional installation, experience luxury made easy at Electronic Express and create a home that truly inspires.
Best Friends Animal Society is working to ensure that every dog and cat in the country has a safe place to call home. Home. Just like Superman, you can use your power for good. Join us. Visit bestfriends.org to adopt an out-of-this-world pet near you. Together, we will save them all.
Make your Yellowstone area vacation unforgettable at the Buffalo Bill Center of the West in Cody, Wyoming. 5 family-friendly museums packed with wildlife, art, culture, and authentic Western experiences. Plan your adventure now at centerofthewest.org.
Your sports live here. WBUZ HD3 Laverne. All around the world on the Game Nashville app. We are the Game Nashville Sports Network. ESPN 94.9. The Fan.
Pastor Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
We're talking with Neil Price, the voice of the Mississippi State Bulldogs, coming up. But first, stat of the day brought to you by Apple Collision Centers. You can find them in Old Hickory, Hendersonville, Gallatin as well. Give them a call, 615-754-9800, or log on to their website. That's applecollisioncenters.com. All right, here we go. We're going baseball today. It's a very interesting question.
Okay.
Max Scherzer and Clayton Kershaw face off tonight in a battle of 3,000 strikeout pitchers. They also faced off against each other during their rookie years as replacements for 2 Hall of Fame pitchers. Can you name the pitchers they replaced?
Oh, good Lord. Okay, so Max Scherzer was a Detroit Tiger. Coming up as a Tiger. Oh, Lord, let me think this one through for a second. They also faced off against each other during their rookie years as replacements. Okay, so that would have been around 2000. Scherzer would not have been replacing Justin Verlander. Who would he have been replacing? We'll come back to that here in a second. Now let's go to Clayton Kershaw. So Kershaw would have been 2007, 2008 Dodger Hall of Famers. Let's dump this in Neil's lap.
Okay.
I think that'd be a great idea. This is one of the really, number one, talented announcers, but funny as all get out, and a native of this state. Grew up in Tennessee. Neil, how you doing?
I'm good, George. I will tell you that
bail me out.
I don't think I can, because with Scherzer, my first thought was Verlander, and you said that that's a no-go.
Well,
and I'm a Reds fan, so by trade that means I pay no attention to the Dodgers, because every time the Reds go west and play the Dodgers, it doesn't end well. So we just don't stay up late and watch any of that.
Yes.
I have no idea, none.
Okay, so why would he have been replacing Verlander? If that's correct.
The only thing I can think of is that maybe it was a situation where he's a rookie, you're short bullpen, you're just trying to piece something together for a few innings. I think back, I watched that Reds game against Atlanta at the Speedway this past weekend, and both those teams are calling guys up, trying to do whatever they can, because they used the back end of the bullpen pretty good 3 straight days before, and you're just trying to piece it together. That's the only reason I could think Max Scherzer would have replaced Justin Verlander. But again, there may be somebody in there that we're not thinking about.
God, I'm sitting there thinking of, in Kershaw's case, names that are too early, like Hideo Nomo, who did not end up in the Hall of Fame. You got to show me this because this is going to drive me crazy.
Randy Johnson and Greg Maddux.
Wait a minute. Hold on a second.
Maddux was 42. Randy Johnson was 44. Diamondbacks and the Dodgers. George is stunned.
Huh? Hold on a second. Wait a minute. No, go back to the question a minute. They also faced off against each other during their rookie years. Okay. Scherzer was a Detroit Tiger. Or was he? Neil, did he start out as he didn't start out as a Tiger?
I'm about to find out.
Dang. I can accept the Maddux one because at the end, Maddux did bounce around Cubs, Padres. Honestly, didn't remember.
Scherzer didn't go to the Tigers until 2010. He was with the Diamondbacks when he was drafted. Yep.
Dang. Okay. Can you and I admit here, Neil, that 99% of people listening to that question did not get it?
Yes, I would say 99%, but I've met some people down here who are into this immaculate grid deal online, and I mean they burn this thing up. Like, I mean, I like the game, but I can't get into the numbers and the moves and all the stuff like these folks can, and they ace this thing on a daily basis. So yeah, when you're talking about 32 teams, 162 game minimum, and then however many guys on every roster, and they can all move freely. It's hard to keep up with who's where and when. Yeah.
God, that is an unbelievable question. Ty Wellemeyer, who is a student at Belmont, puts a lot of these questions together. And at times we just throw up our hands going, who would know? That was a really good question right there, and I butchered it. But
that's tough.
Virtually most all of you would have.
Yeah.
So, Neil, your team, Mississippi State, is one right now that doesn't get a lot of attention, and maybe it's better that way, that they're sort of under the spotlight. So, how much better will they be this year under Jeff Levy?
It's hard to say yet. I think they will be better, but I've been asked the question a few times already. What does that look like in wins and losses? Well, I don't know. I think they could be drastically better and maybe only double their win total from a year ago. If they win 4 or 5, that would be a huge step forward against the schedule that they have. If they win 6 somehow, Jeff Levy ought to be the national coach of the year. It's one of those deals where it's a completely different roster by and large than what Jeff Levy had in year 1. They look drastically different in a good way along the offensive and defensive lines. They look more like an SEC football team there. And I think they have made a really concentrated effort to go out and find some people at wide receiver that have SEC speed. They've built some depth there. They have added some quality depth at running back. And I think they may have the deepest quarterback room that Mississippi State has ever had in its history. So there's a lot of good, but in the day and age of the transfer portal, how quick do you build chemistry? How quick does everyone get on the same page? And what does it look like 3 weeks from now, 3.5 weeks, whatever it is, when they step on the field in Hattiesburg against Southern Miss? Well, that's, as we say in this business, stay tuned. We'll see. Yeah.
So I got to ask this, Neil. I remember a day in time where either Ole Miss or Mississippi State would rather have joined the Communist Party than play Southern Miss down there. How in the world did this happen?
Well, it's been on the schedule for a while, and State has played Southern Miss, I think, 3 times. This will be the 3rd time since I got here in 2017. 2 of those have been at home, so I'd imagine it was probably set up as a 2-for-1. you'll remember that Southern Miss for a long time was the team that would play anyone, anytime, anywhere, put it on the field at one time that they'd do that, and had a good bit of success in games like that, even when they went on the road. So it is a little bit of a nervous opener when you're talking about all of the newness on this state team and wondering how all that will come together. You don't have the benefit of doing that at home, and you're going to have to go play in a stadium where the game is going to basically be their Super Bowl because they love having either State or Ole Miss come in there to play a game. It just doesn't happen often. So I think it'll be a great early test. Now, Southern Miss is going to be in a little bit of the same boat because Charles Huff is new, and Charles was an assistant coach here for Joe Moorhead for a year and was at Alabama for a little while. So a guy who knows how to win football games, had a lot of success at Marshall. But he's got a roster that looks a lot different too because he's building his first year there in Hattiesburg. So whichever team gels quicker, gets off to the better start, first couple of drives that game may determine how it comes out. Who knows?
So you brought up earlier that you all have a lot of depth at quarterback. Is the kid from Baylor the best of that group?
Well, if he's bounced back from the injury, then he's certainly the most experienced. I don't know if he's the best overall athlete. You're talking about Blake Shapen. You've got Blake Shapen, who is likely going to be the number one. You've got Luke Cromenhawk, who came over from Florida State, played 4 games there a year ago. And you've got this true freshman who came in back in January from just down the road in Macon named Kamario Taylor, who I think might be the best overall athlete of the group and is going to project, I think, to be a big-time quarterback. This is a guy who, since I've been at State's had guys who could run at quarterback, but maybe they weren't great throwers. They'd complete 50% of their passes. Or they've had great throwers who were true pocket passers. They weren't very mobile. Taylor has shown early that he is both. He is a guy that is just as comfortable throwing on the move as he is standing back in the pocket. He can hurt you multiple ways. He's just a true freshman. That's what's holding him back. Physically, mentally, he's got all it takes to be really, really good. And I'm excited for what the future is for him. Just getting to spend a little time with him. I think he understands the process. And he had an uncle who played quarterback here a while back. So, I mean, he's got some people talking to him that can help him explain what that's like too. But State's never had 3 guys since I've been here that you feel like you could plug in and they either have the prerequisite experience or they have the physical and mental tools you need to play at that position at a high level. So I think that's a good thing, especially coming off a year where Blake Shapen got hurt in the 4th game, and then you've thrown a true freshman to the Wolves for the remaining 8 games of the season, bulk of those against maybe the toughest schedule in the SEC a year ago. So, you know, you hope your starting quarterback makes it through all 12 games. But if something were to happen this time around, I think they're in a much better position to be able to weather the storm.
Neil Price is Mississippi State's really talented play-by-play voice. He's also really funny, as we found out a couple of times on this show. But I got to ask this, Neil, because you worked so closely with him. I'm guessing that even though now we've had some time lapse since the passing of Mike Leach, that nobody's forgotten him down there.
No. Matter of fact, I was talking to someone earlier today about and used a Mike Leach line. You know, we've got this transfer portal era now where one of the big things, whether you're one of the best teams in the country on paper or you're a team that's kind of under the radar, the story or the word is how quickly can you build chemistry? How quickly can it come together? And Coach Leach used to get questions like that. And he'd go, well, you know, you can't just throw it in a microwave and it pops out. You know, this is more of a slow cooker kind of thing. College football is more of a crock pot kind of deal. You put it on and let it simmer. In 3 years, we'll see where we're at. That's true. That's very true. But I'm really happy that the College Football Hall of Fame people got together and they adjusted the criteria that you have to get in as a coach now. Coach Leach was hundredths of a percentage point outside of that group before the voting members got together and changed that. And it gives us all a lot of hope that the next time that they vote on new inductees, that he'll be on that list. Jackie Sherrill's another guy who coached at Mississippi State that was just, again, percentage points outside of the old requirement. He would become eligible with these new rules. So I was happy to hear that, because I believe both are very deserving. And while I didn't work for Coach Sherrill or with Coach Sherrill, I've had an opportunity to get to meet him and know him a little bit since I've been here. And another one of the great characters I have ever met in sports. Just a wonderful, wonderful guy to talk to. And maybe the biggest hands, an old tight end, biggest hands I've ever seen. He'd shake your hand and your hand would disappear. I mean, it's just, I can't imagine he ever dropped a pass if they threw it to him at Alabama. I can't imagine he ever dropped one. Yeah.
Billy, what do you got for Neil?
Neil, it's always. I want to go back. We got Double George here.
Boy, okay, so we're doubling down.
No, every now and then it'll go Double George. Let me get this figured out here.
That's not a real look, Neil, for the show.
No, Neil, I want to go to baseball. I'll get back to football. This was your first year calling Mississippi State baseball, correct?
Yeah. So first time in 8 years I had done baseball, but first year I had done it here. And yeah, to say it was a wild ride would be an understatement. Coaching change, all that stuff is literally unfolding within minutes of the final out of the final game of the season. I mean, we're in the car riding from the ballpark in Tallahassee back to the hotel, and we're getting minute by minute on our phones that State's hired a new coach. We're about to walk back into a room at the hotel with players and a staff that don't know what they're going to do now. And yeah, it was a heck of a way to end a year. But it looks like at least early returns that they've made a fantastic hire. You don't get to hire a Hall of Fame coach very often, and they were able to go out and do that. Recruiting has gone very well for them here in the early going. The transfer portal has been good to them. And again, we're sitting here in August, but you look ahead to February and you think, man, there aren't a ton of holes in that lineup, and there's a lot of depth in that bullpen, and you kind of get excited about what the prospect might be for them.
I want to go football now. This schedule is really interesting. Some difficult non-conference games. We've talked about the Southern Miss game, Arizona State in Starkville.
Yeah.
How about that one as well? Northern Illinois, always pesky. Of course, you host Tennessee, several tough road trips. And this is the Vanderbilt discussion too. Like all the time you hear, man, but that schedule, that Vanderbilt schedule, well, it's how it is every year for Vanderbilt and Mississippi State, Kentucky, a lot of seasons where it's always an uphill climb, or at least typically is. How do you look at this schedule and how it sets up for Jeff Levy and the Bulldogs in year two?
The computer loves those three programs. I was always told a computer randomly picked those schedules, and the computer loves Mississippi State, Vanderbilt, and Kentucky, doesn't it? Listen, I think State and Vandy have the two toughest schedules. I really do. I don't know which one's one and which one's two, but I think those are the two toughest ones. Just looking at them early on, not knowing a thing about how it's going to go for either team. In terms of, what do you have to do? Well, the good news for State is it's the same SEC schedule, just like it is for everybody else in the league. They played a year ago. Your tougher games, I think, a year ago were all on the road. Not to say that they were any easier than the other, but now that flips, and some of those games that you would think would be your harder games, at least you get them at home, get the benefit of sleeping in your own bed. You don't have to get on an airplane or a bus, and you can go out and play in front of your fans and see if you can create enough breaks to give yourself a chance to win. I think that is one positive in this. The other thing is I do believe State's more talented than the team that went out a year ago, and they found a way in some of those games that a lot of people wrote them off in very early to be competitive. They were competitive for 3 quarters at Texas against a team that was ranked number 1 in the country. They were competitive at Georgia. They were competitive at Ole Miss. So, I think that you've got a coaching staff that's not going to sit back and go, woe is me, because of what the schedule looks like, and because they have some confidence that they can go out and put a plan together to give themselves a chance in games like that. So again, we'll see. Got asked the question earlier today, where do you plant the flag and go, this is the game? I haven't met anybody in the SEC who would be willing to plant a flag on any game and say, oh yeah, we can win that one. That's a gimme. League's too hard. There are too many good teams to say, oh yeah, we can make some hay here. So I think your home games are important, and again, hopefully that added talent, depth, all that stuff kind of comes together, and maybe they can surprise some people.
You mentioned that Texas game last year. That was Arch Manning's one of his starts last year. I can't remember if that was his first one of his career or not, but he played really well. He was 26 of 31, 324 yards and 2 touchdowns. And you had an interesting perspective there, being in Starkville for that. What did you see from Arch in that game, and what can we expect from him? Because everybody expects him to come in here and lead Texas to the playoff and win the Heisman, but it's not going to be that easy, we all know.
Well, first of all, it was in Austin, and I think you're right. It was his first start. It was his first start. What I saw, early on is he looks like a Manning. He looked like Peyton. He looked like Eli. Confident, stands tall in the pocket. Just didn't look like a guy, even as a true freshman, that got rattled by a whole lot. That's what you want out of a quarterback, and I'm sure that he's had plenty of training. And when you've got 3 people in your family who have played quarterback at the highest level in the NFL, and listen, before his dad got hurt, his dad was a pretty good football player too now. So I mean, this is a guy who's got a wealth of knowledge and resources to be able to lean on. Not to mention the guy who's coached him in Austin's pretty good coach too. So I'm not shocked that he has any success, and they're plenty talented. They're probably going to be number 1 team in the country when the year starts. They're certainly going to be one of the top 3 or 4 if they're not. And I think that'll give him plenty of confidence to go out and have a great year.
Last thing for me, Neil, in the SEC, we've talked all about this, how there's unproven quarterbacks at elite programs, whether it's a Georgia, Texas with Arch, relatively unproven. We saw him a couple times last year. LSU is a school that is proven with Nussmeier. We just talked about an injury from him. How do you look at the top of that league, of this league, where to me, and we've talked about it, feels like anything can happen?
Well, I think that's every year. And the thing that's funny in the SEC is that it used to just be that way in football, and I go back to, I'm just old enough to go back to the days of 8 and 10 team SEC, when that's kind of what it was. And then we got to 12 and it changed a little bit. In basketball, for the longest time, it felt like it was 4 teams at the top and everybody else. That's not the case anymore, certainly. Baseball has always been a little bit different in that they've beaten up on one another pretty good because the talent level is what it is. I don't know that I've got a great answer for you, Billy, other than if it weren't that way, I think we'd all be disappointed. And if you were a fan, you'd feel a little bit cheated if you didn't think that all these people could come in and every game in this league every Saturday wasn't just a knockdown drag out, because that's what we've become accustomed to. It's what's made the SEC, I think, head and shoulders above every other league in America when you're talking about college football. And I know there are people nationally who complain that the SEC gets too many teams in the playoff. The SEC gets too much bias from the media. there's a reason for all of that. Because the quality of the league is that good. The quality of the sport is that good in this league. And now that you've got a situation in college sports where you don't have to develop necessarily the way you used to, where you bring in true freshmen and you hope by maybe their sophomore year they can contribute something, but certainly as juniors they can be big time players on your team. Now you can just go find another one. You can find a junior. You can go find a senior if you need to, or a grad guy. Now you just flip those rosters every year. And the coaches and the GMs now, which is a new term for us in college football, but the GMs in these programs, the ones who can really do that, their programs are really going to take off.
Good Lord, GMs in college football. Man, it is a different world. Neil, you were good to do this. Great talking to you as always, and let's do it again soon.
Yeah, we'll do it again soon. It's on us, man. It's hard to believe. The heat has arrived here. The humidity is unbearable here, and that means that football season's right around the corner. You can set your watch by it. So I'm excited for it. It's been a good summer, but it's time to get back after it.
So you've done, let me make sure I got this right. You've done Mississippi State Southern Miss football before.
I think that they have played two other times. One I'm sure of here in Starkville, but I feel like they've played two other times since I've been here. And both those games have been in Starkville. So that's why I think this was a 2-for-1. And this is the one that State owes on the road. And they've done a bunch of that. I mean, they've got Troy on the schedule at Troy in the next few years, like maybe the next 2 years. Shortly after I graduated school at Middle, State played at Middle in Murfreesboro.
Man, those Southern Miss fans are going to be fired up, and fans there will be literally fired up because it's going to be
11 in the morning. Oh my God! So you'll like this, Neil. I've actually done a Southern Miss football game, and it was so long ago, it ended in a 21-21 tie, and I had to look up the pronunciation of the quarterback. Otherwise, we might have said Favre back to throw.
Oh, wow.
How about that?
You didn't just default to Jubilee Dunbar like Jim Fife?
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, one of the great stories ever. I forget who Auburn was playing, but Jim didn't have a roster, or there was a guy, rather, that was on the team that did not appear on the roster that Jim Fife had. So Jim Fife just gave him the name Jubilee Dunbar. And it's amazing that Jubilee Dunbar didn't win the Heisman Trophy that day. It really is. Yeah.
I had never heard that when Jim Fife was one of the all-timers. Neil, thank you.
Yep. Thanks, guys.
Wow. That's going back memory lane a little bit.
That's pretty funny.
The legendary and late Auburn play-by-play voice, Jim Fife. After the break, a few thoughts about tomorrow night's preseason game in Tampa. In other words, it is the dreaded tail of the tape.
Oh, it's back.
This is 94.9, The Fan.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
Attention, Big Orange Country. Tennessee and Illinois will square off Saturday, December the 6th at Bridgestone Arena. This is the rematch of a great college basketball game last season in Champaign that went right to the wire. And this one figures to be more of the same. Tickets are on sale now. You can grab your seats by going to Ticketmaster.com. That's Ticketmaster.com. Tennessee, Illinois. It's big time. It's easy to say good things about the folks at Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers. Number one, I trust them with something that's near and dear to me, the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. But more importantly, I see the fun people have. They enjoy the bowling. They enjoy the camaraderie, and you will too. Come by any of their locations and get ready to have some fun.
Are you ready to begin? Trevecca Nazarene University. From calling to becoming.
Venture Express has been helping people in this area for more than 40 years. They're headquartered in Murfreesboro with over 30 years of dedicated fleets involving production, manufacturing, and corrugated experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up 615-793-9500 or log on to ventureexpress.com.
Mama, don't let your baby grow up to be a cowboy. Let them grow up to be Ravens and Niners or something. Anything but the Cowboys.
Check out more from Freddie and Harry weekdays at 3 Eastern on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
It's the George Plaster Show.
Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
So yes, we have reached that time.
This is the signal of football season. Tail of the tape.
Jimmy the Greek, they used to in the early 80s when he was on NFL Today with Brent Musburger and Irv Cross, they did sort of this check mark system because I guess back then it was a little more taboo just to come out and talk point spreads.
Yeah.
There wasn't FanDuel and DraftKings and all this stuff. And back then, they were getting into territory that was really new stuff. And so they put out Tail of the Tape for Jimmy the Greek. And I copied it years ago. This is stupid, but here goes for tomorrow night. Until I see otherwise, the check mark in the passing game absolutely has to go to Tampa. By a pretty good amount, not only because Baker Mayfield is now proven, but think about those wide receivers. Now, you're not going to see a bunch of them, at least hopefully for the Titans, you won't. The rushing game, I go the same way. I don't think that the margin is as strong, but I give the check mark there to Tampa Bay. Obviously, defensively, they're light years better than the Titans right now. They blitz like crazy. I have no idea whether they do that tomorrow night or not, because there may be a gentleman's agreement between the two coaching staffs of certain things they will or they won't do. But in the regular season, Tampa Bay is an absolute beast when it comes to sending the kitchen sink. You know, it hadn't gotten a lot of play, but we really don't know much about the Titans' kicking game. It was a complete embarrassment to football a year ago.
Oh, my gosh.
It's the reason Colt Anderson got fired. I mean, from week 2, I was all over that and saying, as bad as they are, why are they so bad at this? Well, I would assume under Coach Fossil that will clean up, and that by the time we get to the regular season, that check mark might be right in the middle.
Well, and I'll be interested, too, in the special teams as a whole in the return game. Who ends up returning kicks for the Titans and punts, for that matter? They bring in James Prochet, who Terry has talked about as a potential there. Chimere DK as well. Jaquan Jackson. Does Tajay Spears slide in there? I'll be interested to see who they have working, returning kicks and punts in the return game as well.
So under intangibles, here's kind of what I've got. In Tampa, there is this weird vibe all of a sudden where you got Baker Mayfield as the established number one. And up until a few days ago, Kyle Trask from the University of Florida was the backup. Well, maybe not, because they have out of nowhere signed Teddy Bridgewater. They've given it it doesn't mean anything about Kyle Trask. Well, yeah, it does. And so there's a little intrigue down there about their quarterback situation. And, of course, with the Titans, we all know that Cam Ward is the intangible. Tomorrow night, everybody's going to want to know, how did Cam Ward play? I personally do not agree with what Terry McCormick reported earlier, which is that he'll play a couple of series. Now, let me say that what Terry reported, that's an accurate reporting. What I don't agree with is he's got to play the full half. We got to find out what this kid is and what he isn't. And playing him 2 series in your first preseason game, I don't see where that does any of that.
Yeah, 2 series. You'd like to see a little bit more than that. I mean, that's not a whole lot of football there. But I always get the injury risk. That's what the Titans will say about it. We don't want to get them hurt.
So we get down to the final score, which means absolutely nothing in these preseason games. I went Tampa Bay 22-20. Ironically, Vegas has the Titans as a 3-point favorite, which is them.
What's that about?
Well, what that likely is them saying that the Titans care more about the result than Tampa will. And they might be right about that. But until I see it, I'm not sure I believe it.
Well, the Titans are one of those teams right now, like you said, care more about the result. They want to build confidence moving into the season. The Buccaneers are what they are. They know what they are. They've already got confidence because of what they've put out there the last 2-3 years under this regime and Baker Mayfield leading the way. The Titans, spot they're in, they're not in the best spot. So this is when they need to build confidence, and they've got to do it beginning tomorrow night.
Okay, so all of this leads us to our little promotion that we're calling Football Night in Nashville. When we get to September, these will all be on Thursday nights at Sports and Social in Green Hills, and it's beautiful. If you haven't been there before, it's really good. Great TVs and great food. But we're going to take it a little step farther. Tomorrow night, a lot of you will want to see Cam Ward's debut. So we decided to make one of the special nights a Saturday evening. And game starts at 6:30. We'll begin all our little festivities around 6 o'clock. Any and all of you who come in tomorrow night will be given a registration slip to try to win the beautiful golf cart that we will give away in late December, courtesy of Mikey's Motors. Also, when you walk in, you're going to notice some pretty intense Pop-A-Shot competition.
Oh, yeah.
Good prizes. Those of you who score well, you might win one of those prizes. And during the TV timeouts, I'll have some trivia questions. And so just in general, we're going to have a lot of fun. If you've not been to Sports and Social before, it's beautiful. Come on out and join us. That's our little spiel. After the break, we'll open up the phone lines and see where you all might want to take the end of the show at 615-553-0933. Again, 615-553-0933. Very simply, we're looking for red-blooded Americans who want to talk some sports. No communists, but red-blooded Americans. Hit the phones. We'll be back in a moment on 94.9 The Fan.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
This is my buddy Stan Harrison from Apple Collision Centers. Recently, you've been talking to me about companies that have a fleet of trucks and they're always in need of repairs.
That's right, George. We understand that nobody likes to deal with the auto body repair process. We try to simplify that at our 3 convenient locations. We work with all major insurance companies. We help to ease the stress of the auto body repair process. We're located in Old Hickory, Hendersonville, and Gallatin. If you need our services, please stop by and see us.
And how convenient that we have that in the background. Now, seriously, these are good folks. They do really good work. Give them a holler. Attention, Big Orange Country. Tennessee and Illinois will square off Saturday, December the 6th at Bridgestone Arena. This is the rematch of a great college basketball game last season in Champaign that went right to the wire. And this one figures to be more of the same. Tickets are on sale now. You can grab your seats by going to Ticketmaster.com. That's Ticketmaster.com. Tennessee, Illinois. It's big time. Venture Express has been helping people in this area for more than 40 years. They're headquartered in Murfreesboro with over 30 years of dedicated fleets involving production, manufacturing, and corrugated experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up 615-793-9500 or log on to ventureexpress.com.
Master Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
And we've had a Friday, and it's been a really good one here at Levy's, just down the road, like about a half block from Green Hills Mall. They have a beautiful tent sale going on, and it will run through tomorrow. So if you're in the area, or even if you're not, come on out and be a part of it. Okay, it looks like we're ready to go to the phones. Clay in Nashville is line one. Clay, what's going on?
George, as you know, I've already told you, but I will be present and accounted for, and I'm sorry that I will be solo. Now, I will tell you this. Back in the day, it's been a while since I played, but I'm pretty good at Pop-A-Shot.
Okay, well, then you need to make an attempt at it, because everybody who participates in Pop-A-Shot gets a prize. Everybody. Everybody.
It wasn't for lack of trying, George, that I, tried to get a table together. So I did try.
Well, you know what? During the regular season, try again, because by then the word will have gotten out as to how much fun this is.
Oh, I'm looking forward to it. Hey, Billy.
What's up, Clay?
I'm posing this question to both of you guys. George, you're a Vanderbilt alum. Billy, you do podcasts for Vanderbilt with Chris and Luke and all those guys. And I'm not, trying to beat a dead horse, but like I said before, I love this bravado, whatever you want to call it, of Diego. Like I said yesterday, George, I would do it in the locker room and maybe tone it down a little bit in front of the media, because my problem with it is this. I mean, I'm a realist, even though I am passionate as there is Vanderbilt fan, and both of you guys know that. Am I correct in saying that Vanderbilt will be favored in 3 non-conference games, not at Virginia Tech, and probably Kentucky at home? Would both of you guys agree with that? They'd be an underdog in the other 8 games.
Yeah, depending on how the season goes, they could be a favorite against Kentucky.
So my thing is, you know, and I hope this doesn't happen, but if he did happen to get hurt, or if, you know, things don't go the way that Vanderbilt fans hope they do, and this team can't, you know, win some of these games where they're possibly an underdog like they did last year, and they don't make it to a bowl, you know, that's my concern. I mean, because I just think that would be a kind of a bad way for Diego to go out. You know, that's my only thing. I mean, look, I love this kid. I mean, I'm 110% behind him. He has brought more to this program in the 2 years that he's played for Vanderbilt, and thank God, you know, that he got this extra year. I mean, there's nothing you can say. The guy's a warrior. I mean, he played hurt basically maybe on one leg after the Kentucky game until he had time to rest for the bowl game, and you saw what happened in the bowl game. So when the guy's healthy, you know, he flat gets it done. But I just want Vanderbilt to have a good season. I want Diego to have a good season, and I just pray to God that he stays healthy.
Yeah, and I mean that's kind of where the whole thing goes. Is he's proven that, you know, when he's got half a chance and halfway healthy, he's really good. And to me, it all comes down to you know, can they keep him healthy?
Offensive line. They got to protect him. They got to give him more time than they did last year. And some of the receivers got to step up too and make a few more plays than they did last year. But, yeah, Clay, that's what it's about, keeping that kid healthy.
Real quick, and then I'll get off because I know we're pushed for time if there's many callers. Billy, you go to practice, I'm sure some. How is the offensive line progressing in preseason practice?
Well, they had
Clay, let you hear this off air. Thank you. See you tomorrow night.
Thanks.
They had a really bad practice on Monday. I heard that Jerry Kill lit into him, and Clark wasn't happy. Talking to the media, I wasn't able to go on Monday, but he wasn't happy. But they had a better practice today. I was over there, but look, it's fall camp. They gotta work that kinks out and get some cohesion down. But Georgia got four new faces on that offensive line, so that's going to be a big thing to watch here throughout the rest of fall camp.
Let's go now to Tyron and Brentwood. Tyron, what's going on?
Same old. Great to be with you, George and Billy. Great to be with you.
Hey, you going to join us tomorrow night?
No, I won't be able to get up there, unfortunately. I wish I could, but I won't. But I'll definitely be watching the game. But no, I wish I could get up there. I've met you one time, and I met you back when you was at the other network when you were 102.5 the game. So I met you once, and I don't know if you remember me, but I remember you well. But I hope to somehow get to a setting at some point where I can see you again, because you're a true icon, my friend, true icon.
Oh, I look forward to seeing you.
Yes, sir. But I got to get to the Chargers, man. And, I like Herbert. I like Harbaugh. Since Brady retired, they're my team now. They're my quarterback and coach. And, man, I seen that yesterday with Slater and how he got helped off and carted off. And I was just hoping that it was maybe not what it was, obviously. That is a brutal, fatal loss for the Chargers. There is no way around it. He is the best offensive lineman on the team. Jim Harbaugh, we know, wants to run the football. He wants to play bloody-your-nose football. And he loves the meat and potatoes, and Herbert's protective from the blind side. So when I seen that and then it got confirmed, I'm like, oh, my goodness. Not saying they can't overcome it, because I think they can, but when you lose your best all-pro tackle, that is just brutal, right? Hadn't even played but one preseason game. It's awful, and I'll tell you right now, to me, it's the number one story right now. I know everybody talking about Parsons and the Cowboys and all that, but right there, the Chargers has big expectations this year, George, and running the football, protecting Herbert is paramount. And not saying they can't find somebody, make a move by the deadline, but this is a huge loss. Can they come back from it? Yes, but they're in a tough AFC and a tough AFC West. Oh man, this is brutal. I about blacked out when I seen it. I'm like, my God, man, the Chargers just can't catch a break for nothing, man.
Stop there, because I got to run. But he's absolutely right. This is a huge story because the Chargers are a legit Super Bowl contender. They didn't need this.
I'll say this though, Joe Alt from my Notre Dame Fighting Irish is a heck of a player. Right? That's not a bad replacement.
Okay, I got 3 calls on the line. Each one of you, if you can, give me a couple of minutes. Dave, line 3, welcome.
Good afternoon, George.
Hello.
I got a question about the Music City Bowl.
Okay.
Is there anybody in the Southeastern Conference that has not been to Nashville at least once?
I don't think Florida has been.
No, Florida has been.
Have they been?
Yeah, I think Florida has been. That's a really good question.
Well, okay. Clearly Texas hasn't.
Yeah.
And Oklahoma hasn't. But of the original 12, you're sure Florida's been there?
Florida. Oh, you know what?
Yeah,
you might be right.
I think Florida's been there.
I thought I remember seeing Florida in a Music City Bowl. You're right. Scott Ramsey had mentioned that it'd be nice to get Florida in it for the first time.
There's your answer, Dave.
Thank you, buddy.
Thank you.
I love Dave's calls.
He's quick and to the point. Mike on line 4. What's shaking?
Good afternoon. Hot off the wire, George. Jesse Chavez came out of retirement. He will start game 2 for your Braves tomorrow night.
Gosh.
Oh, good Lord. Are you serious?
No, I'm not serious.
Okay.
I was going to say, there's no way.
Although, would I have been shocked? Not really. I mean, this is
I am serious.
Bargain basement stuff.
Yeah, I am serious. Billy made a statement yesterday about the Boston player, Roman, being Rookie of the Year, and that's not going to happen. He won't even finish third. The 2 guys from Oakland will finish ahead of him. But, hey, last thing, last night was the 37th anniversary of when Jack Armstrong threw a no-hitter for the Sounds. That made history. But the night before, a guy for Indianapolis, Randy Johnson, threw a no-hitter. 7-8 inning. Pat Pasillo threw the 8th inning. And the Sounds won that game. So I just saw where Chuck Morris, the official scorer, posted that. So it was 37 years ago, last night, and the night before.
That's info you get on every show. Thank you, Mike.
All right, see ya.
Okay, Brett is our final call on line 5. Brett, what's shaking?
Hey, guys. Shedeur Sanders is starting tonight, and I wanted to get your opinion on what you think he needs to do to separate himself to get that, backup or third string spot in that Cleveland QB race. What does he need to do tonight to, leave his mark?
From what I hear, their biggest worry about him is the slow windup.
Yeah.
He's got a long, it's not a quick release.
No, he's got a hitch in his giddy up, per se. And I don't think there's anything he can do. I mean, I might be a little harsh, but I don't see him.
Well, on the other hand, they picked him for a reason. Now, all of a sudden, maybe by default, he's getting the first preseason reps. I mean, he needs to kill it. Because if he knocks it dead, if he knocks it out of the park, then you've kind of got to, wait a minute.
He's not.
What do we do?
They're not setting him up for success, though.
No, they might not be.
When you start that first preseason game, and I don't know who the Browns have tonight at receiver and running back, probably not much. Who do they play?
Carolina.
Okay, that helps.
Yeah.
So now, if he doesn't hit it out of the park, is there still a chance? They cut him or trade him. You think that's still in the cards?
I wonder. I think there are a lot of teams that he's unable to, simply because I think a lot of them don't want to deal with the circus coming to town. The circus kind of being Dion, but Cleveland really hasn't experienced that because Shedeur has sort of said to Dad, "Stay away." Now, I know the reasons they've put out there. I think the real reason is I don't think the Browns wanted Dion on campus.
I don't think there's much of a shot for Shedeur in Cleveland, maybe somewhere else where he's set up for more success. But that quarterback room is a mess with Dylan Gabriel, Joe Flacco. Who else they have? They have another guy, right? We've got like 4 or 5
Gabriel, Flacco, Kenny Pickett, who right now is hurt. It's a crowded deal.
Somebody's going to be the odd man out. Maybe Shedeur can prove that he's not that guy tonight.
He's asking some really good questions here that at the moment, nobody's got the answers. Brett, have a good weekend.
You guys too.
Okay, after the break, thanks to all of the callers. That was nice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, was it?
6 on a Friday.
Yeah. That's
pretty good
stuff. Okay, after the break, Plaster bet of the day. It's time to rally. We have hit rock bottom at the end of the week.
Willie Donick here for Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville. The summer is winding down, and fall will be here before we know it. My friends at Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville have amazing special deals right now, and they're just in time to replace those old, drafty windows for the cold winter months. I endorse Pella because they are the highest quality windows and doors, the most trusted brand, and they improve the value of your home over all the others. So go with the experts at Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville. Visit PellaNashville.com for more information.
You know what's going to happen, and when your car needs service or repair, remember Mitchell's Mr. Transmission on Gallatin Road, just north of Briley Parkway.
At Mitchell's Mr. Transmission, expert technicians go beyond transmissions handling alignment, brakes, suspension systems, and even that stubborn check engine light. Take the guesswork out with a free performance check and honest recommendations, all protected by a nationwide warranty. Mitchell's Mr. Transmission, keeping Tennessee road ready season after season.
Mitchell's Mr. Transmission on Gallatin Road, just north of Briley Parkway.
Start your engines, Nashville. It's the Borchetta Bourbon Music City Grand Prix, roaring into Labor Day weekend at Nashville Super Speedway. 2 days of nonstop action, including high-stakes qualifying Saturday and the NTT IndyCar Series Championship race on Sunday, with cars hitting speeds over 200 miles per hour. Adult tickets start at just $70, and kids 12 and under are only $10. But hurry, the best seats are going fast. Get yours now at MusicCityGP.com. That's MusicCityGP.com.
I was a police officer and a motorcycle cop for 20 years. I was an accident reconstructionist. Then I was in a really bad motorcycle accident, and I called Ponce Law.
When the insurance company tried to deny Chip's claim, we were happy to fight for him. We let Chip recover while we got him the money that he deserved.
So if you've been injured, call Ponce Law. The call was free, and they helped me.
Call Ponce Law, justice for all, 615-244-4321.
It's back to school season, and Cromwell Media has teamed up with Souls for Souls to help a child in Middle Tennessee step into the new year with confidence by introducing Souls for 615. For just $20, you can provide a brand new pair of athletic shoes to a student in need. It's quick, it's easy, and it makes a big difference. Visit thegamenashville.com/shoes to donate now and be a part of something meaningful. Souls for 615 is presented by Macero and 12 South. Go check them out for handcrafted cocktails, bold plates, great happy hour, and elevated hospitality. Your sports live here on the Game Nashville Sports Network.
Final segment from Levy's in Green Hills. It's been a great last couple of days here, and man,
the tent sale continues through tomorrow.
There you go. To close it out, bet of the day brought to you by Bart Durham Injury Law. We take a look what happened last night, and man, more rock bottom.
Bad week.
Raiders did not get it done.
No, they didn't. So let's conclude the week on a good note. Let's start with baseball. The Mariners have really upped their lineup. Josh Naylor, Eugenio Suarez. They have put some oomph into their lineup. The problem is that ballpark. It's like hitting out a mammoth cave.
Yeah.
They play Tampa Bay tonight at home. I'm taking Seattle in this minus the 120. Nobody will like this, but I'm taking Tampa Bay tomorrow plus the 3 against the Titans.
You can't bet against the Titans.
Well, I'm not telling you to do that. I'm just saying what have they done to be a favorite?
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a fair point.
Anyway,
it's a preseason game.
Tomorrow night, our first Football night in Nashville at Sports and Social in the Green Hills Mall. I hope a bunch of you will come out and be a part of it because we're going to have fun.
Come on out.
Shame on you if you don't. See you Monday.
You're